On this episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, going to kind of take a final look at the Carolina Hurricanes before we enter free agency, the expansion draft with Seattle, and the 2021 NHL draft. We got a lot to discuss and cover, but I kind of want to take a final stab at a couple of other pressing issues that need to be answered. Before we get into today's content, make sure you pound that like button. Hit that bell notification and be notified of future content like what you see in today's video with the Hurricanes. By all means, folks, leave some comments. I appreciate the feedback, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And by all means, folks, it doesn't cost anything. Subscribe. Okay, folks, I kind of don't want to beat a dead horse. I know we're sitting here right now as I'm filming this video. We're about a week away from when Carolina with the other 30 NHL, I say 29 because Vegas doesn't have to do it, but 29 of the 30 NHL, or 30 out of the 31 NHL teams have to submit their expansion exempt list. And we'll get a good peek to see what players are going to be available. And remember, the good thing is Seattle and Ron Francis can only pick one player off of every team. So if we do lose one player, that's all you lose. And sometimes you hope it's a guy they take and they don't, you're disappointed. And sometimes you're afraid they're going to take a player you like Jake Bean, and hopefully they don't, and they take someone else. And we'll just never know. So that list is coming out, and to be followed by the expansion draft, to be followed by the NHL draft, and then also to be followed by the opening of free agency. And all this is coming down the pipes here, folks. And the next, like I said, the expansion, the list comes out in about a week. I think we got about 10, 11 days after, well, I say a week, about 10, 11 days from now, we'll be looking at the expansion draft. Then you got the regular draft in a couple of weeks. And by the time you're hearing this, you're probably about a week away from it, time I've edited it and put it out. And, and then free agency. So some things I want to touch on. First thing I want to hit on, it's very big because I put out a video not long ago about Peter Karmanos switching his full ownership, getting out of the NHL, and Tom Dundon taking over as the full partner. Now, the Centennial Authority for Raleigh, they had this lease for the Carolina Hurricanes at the PNC Arena, and it was set to expire in 2024, which basically meant the Hurricanes had a minimum of 3 years left to play if they didn't renew a lease. Well, the good thing is, the other day coming down the pipe, the Hurricanes agreed with the Centennial Authority to do a 5-year renewal. So the Carolina Hurricanes will not be going anywhere, no matter how bad it gets, or if this great squad gets broken up, or Dundon decides to not sign anyone, or fans stay away because of COVID, or whatever reason, the Hurricanes will be playing in Raleigh through 2029, which is good news, because that means I've got 8 more years of this great franchise that I love, and puts us, in this area for 30-some years instead of 20-some years. And I'm hoping it's extended beyond that. I don't want to see anything happen. As a matter of fact, that the only team I see that possibility of moving I talked about, and it might not come to fruition because it's a good hockey market, is Ottawa. But I know Houston's clamoring at the bit to get a team. I think Kansas City would like to get another shot. But you got a team in St. Louis, so I don't know if the NHL's dying to put another team there in Missouri. But Texas is huge, and that's why that's one. And I know Atlanta's missed out. They've had 2 teams, and the NHL's probably not beating the door down to go back there. But it is a market, I think, if it was done correctly, that's a place they would really love to be. They wouldn't have went twice, folks, if it wasn't a market that they saw fit to go into. But it's just kind of nice to know that, we don't have to worry about that peeking around the corner after another year or two, that we're going to be playing at the PNC for the next 8 years. And hopefully the city of Raleigh, state of North Carolina, maybe can build another arena or come to an agreement as the PNC arena gets older. And we can really push this team to being here for, well past I'm dead, hopefully. And hopefully I live a long time. Second thing I want to talk about was the rookie 2018 second-round draft pick Jack Drury. He signed his 3-year early lease clause or early contract. So the good thing about it is it's an entry-level contract. I'm sorry. Jack Drury played at Harvard in 60 games and scored 63 points. And he took a different path to the NHL. He went and played in the Swedish leagues. You got to remember his dad, Ted Drury, played 414 games for Calgary, Hartford, Ottawa, Anaheim, Columbus, and the Islanders. His uncle Chris Drury was more known. He played 892 games, and he's the current GM of the New York Rangers. So he's got the bloodlines, and he is a good forward. In the Swedish leagues, in the playoffs, he got 11 points in 14 games, and he's much younger. But he played for Vaxjo Lakers of Sweden. I don't know how good they were, but I do know he did score 30 points in 41 games. And, okay, he's a young guy. He's developing, so it's going to take him some time. But I think with some of these free agents we got that we might not bring back, that are forwards, some that may leave on their own with being an unrestricted free agent, some of the restricted that may not be qualified an offer, or maybe we lose a forward in the expansion draft. I think they're looking at Jack Drury now coming in where he can get on this team. It'd be kind of hard for him to make this past year, but he's getting older now and getting better and losing some of this talent we have and moving on from some guys that want more money. Jack Drury might be a guy that can get the third or fourth line play and develop him into a talent that where one day maybe he sees the first and second line. But he is definitely a bottom six forward in this 2021-2022 season upcoming. Now, saying that, you got to look at some other guys that we're going to probably take notice of as we're losing players. Jani Hakanpaa, defenseman. Somebody that I put in a couple of videos on him. That's somebody to keep an eye on in case we lose a couple of these defensemen, like Hakanpaa. Since we let go of Fleury, if we were to lose Jake Bean, we got to bring some of this young talent up. Eetu Makiniemi, who's a goalie. If Reimer doesn't come back, which I'd rather have Mrazek, but if he definitely is gone, and I know restricted free agent is Nedeljkovic, but if we get Nedeljkovic back, he still has to have a backup, and we need to develop somebody young. So this Makiniemi is a guy that might be somebody that we need to bring up and develop, in the AHL level and move on up to. And then Noah Gunler, I mentioned him before. Forward we got for Adam Fox, second round pick of 2020. Hopefully he can develop. He might be able to get him some playing time and get some fourth line minutes and move up. You also got to take a look in the minors of Seth Jarvis. I think he's going to develop quicker than these other guys. Maybe not Drury, but definitely Gunler. Ryan Suzuki, if he didn't have the eye injury, with his brother Nick playing so well in Montreal, it's just a matter of time for him to move up. And also Jamieson Rees. It's another guy to keep an eye on as well. So, like I said, with the expansion draft up and looming, you got to worry about Hamilton's being a free agent. I think he's gone. Foegele, we're going to see about him. If we're going to lose him, he's a restricted free agent. Brock McGinn's unrestricted. I don't want to lose him. But with some of these younger guys coming up, if it's over money, depending on what we do, you never know. Jordan Martinook's unrestricted free agent. He might be as good as gone. Morgan Geekie's restricted. We've got others, guys to think about. And then, of course, I'm looking at Jake Bean. I don't think we're going to lose Jake Bean over free agency, being restricted, but we could lose him in the expansion draft. And I'd rather lose like Brady Shea. But the Hurricanes might want to keep him. But if we lose Hamilton and we look to free agents and we lose Bean in the expansion draft, my God, you've gone from Slavin and Pesce and you've got Shea probably there then, and you got Gardner. But who do you put on that third line? Do you want to put Shea and Gardner together? And that's why I think it's really important to keep Bean and just if we lose Hamilton. If we lose Hamilton, it'll soften the blows if we lose Bean. But I don't think we need to lose both because one of those 6 spots is going to be coming up. And putting a young talent back there or getting somebody else or going into minors and finding someone, it's going to make us a little weaker. So we'll see. Plus the Tarasenko guy, I guess it's Tarasenko, coming up for St. Louis. Had a lot of injuries. A forward, or I've heard that we're sniffing around looking at bringing him in maybe as a guy for the second or third line, and we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So guys, what do you think of today's video? Anything else you think we need to add? Add some comments on the Hurricanes as we come up on this expansion draft, free agency, and the NHL amateur draft. Leave me some comments. Hit that bell notification to be notified of future videos like these. And by all means, folks, it's free. Subscribe. And we'll see you next time on another edition of the Carolina Sports Guy.